I've heard it said that it's kind of a cafe culture. In a lot of ways, it's very European, the city, and people spend their time at a much slower pace in New Orleans. And I think that lends itself to the things that we're known for. So food, slow-paced meals, to cocktails that are reminiscent of things in Spain, in the Caribbean, and also places in Europe. And obviously music, which is a fundamental kind of glue that holds our entire culture together. We, as a city, are a melting pot in a lot of ways, not just the people, but also like the things that are in the foods, in the music, and in the drinks.
Really opening the menu here at Miss River in the Chandelier Bar was really about like celebrating our love for Louisiana and the cuisine here. We wanted to create the Chandelier Bar to feel like it was going to be here for 100 years and be part of the New Orleans landscape.
When I came here 4 years ago, the building was just a structure, right? Everything had been taken out, and had a lot of chance to really concept and creatively think, what statements did we want to make as we opened the first Four Seasons in New Orleans? Coming from a food and beverage background, the thinking was that the lobby needed to be a social space. It needed to be a space of interaction with the community of New Orleans, with the global guests of Four Seasons. And so instead of having those lobbies that I think typically are quiet and subtle and where people are afraid to talk, this was a lobby we wanted actually the exact opposite. We wanted people to walk in and say, wow. I think it's the new age of hotels. Hotels are no longer these stuffy, uptight places. We want them to be authentic. We want them to tell stories about the location where the hotels are in, and to be able to have both guests interact and exchange with each other, both our hotel guests and then of course the local community.
Chandelier started very simply. It was intended originally to be a champagne bar, and we thought almost immediately that we had this opportunity to showcase New Orleans cocktails as well as is possible. So we forged on a new path, and we decided, let's take the things that people know about New Orleans cocktails. The obvious stuff, Sazerac, French 75, Pim's Cup, and then even deeper cut classics that are a little lesser known. And how do we build that in a way where it's the best possible ingredients you can get? If we take ownership of, this legacy of the city and a responsibility to kind of carry it forward. We're building on generations and generations before us, and being as respectful as possible to all of those who did what they did so that any of this is possible.
We want to complement what happens here in the city, and we look up to places like Café du Monde and Brennan's and Galatoire's. Those are places that my wife and I and our friends go to and have a great time at. All we want to do is just be a good neighbor and be able to give our take on a dish that we've fallen in love with because of places like that exist.
There's great local talent in the communities that we've built our hotels in, and so much of what we have built in New Orleans is based on what that local knowledge is. Who are those people? You look at Hadi Ktiri, our beverage director, someone that has made his entire career through the different bars and hotels of New Orleans, and how do you find those experts that can really make sure that you're paying tribute to the community in an authentic way and not in a vision that we have being the outsiders.
The first thing we had to consider is how do we be as respectful as possible to the cocktail heritage of the city. It's not a stretch to say that more cocktails were invented in New Orleans than maybe anywhere else on the planet, which is pretty incredible that we get to live here. And while at the same time, also be cognizant that we're in the Four Seasons and we're taking care of a luxury clientele that expects a certain international style of cocktails. So how do we make that as a hybrid?
I feel like when people come to stay here at the hotel, they should be able to check off all the great food off of their bucket list without even having to leave the building. So we wanted to create a menu where you could come and get great boudin and cracklins and red beans and gumbo. We just wanted to kind of present a option and a version of that food that we felt kind of spoke to our style of taking something really simple and elevating it in a way that tasted really, really delicious and gave you that real Louisiana feel.
Four Seasons has done a lot of research, especially in the last 5 years, of who are our guests or who is that luxury guest. And it's changed. It's changed both in age demographics. People are having wealth earlier and younger in their lifetime. Our guests don't want the buttoned up scripted service anymore. They want to know who their server is, who their bartender is. Obviously they want things that are of a higher quality, higher caliber of product selection, of finishes, of design touches. But at the end of the day, they want to know who the person is that's curating that cocktail for them.
What excites me about the Chandelier Bar is that it's just a center of downtown New Orleans. You have the French Quarter steps away, the Central Business District and the warehouse just steps away. It's a hub of positive energy and excitement. And I think that will never die. The place is beautiful. The team here is incredible. We love the way that the energy feels here. And I think that it's got legs. It'll keep on.
From a financial perspective, this has exceeded our expectations. When we first started, we weren't sure how our guests were going to use the space. We weren't sure, is it going to be someplace they come in for one drink, or are they going to come multiple times during the week? And it's really become a locals bar. It's on a circuit of people that not just visiting New Orleans, but live here. And I think that's also what makes it attractive to our hotel guests. As travelers, we don't want to have to sit there and be with more of us travelers. We want to be with the locals. And so the fact that we were able to build such an incredible local base, we want this to be a showcase for all the talent that wants to come into New Orleans, to be center stage, and that just continues the story of that New Orleans cocktail culture and really paying respect to that.